Hello everybody, I'm Connor Shaw and this is Sneak and Speak. So today I wanted to talk about streaming and the process of installing my new CPU and motherboard. So after a crazy round of donations on my stream over 2 days from some amazing people, I got over $400 in donations. So thank you all so goddamn much for that. You're all beautiful, wonderful people. I used that money to buy an Intel Core i5-6600 and an Asus H110ME Mark II Micro ATX motherboard. Amazon delivered the parts on Friday and I got straight to installing it. So keep in mind, this is a pre-built computer that I'm upgrading here, as I have been for a few years. In the past, I've already installed a GTX 980, a new power supply unit, and a new SSD, and so on. Boop, boop. Boop. Hello. 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 Goodbye. Oh, God. Oh, God. Okay, I'm just gonna take this and leave the two alone. So the first thing I had to do was remove the old motherboard, which is so hilariously old, I couldn't find any information about it online. Alongside the AMD FX 4300 CPU I had, which is absolute fucking garbage. The motherboard wasn't too hard to remove, considering they didn't screw most of the screws in the factory. So, now that the old motherboard is out, I need to... Pardon me. Pardon me. Oh, whoops. It's kind of an important step here, isn't it? So now that the old motherboard is out, I need to install the CPU and RAM into the new motherboard. If you didn't know, installing a CPU is actually pretty easy. It's literally just putting the CPU inside of a container and pulling a lever closed. That's it. There's not a lot of room for error. Installing RAM is even easier. Just place the stick of Kingston DDR4 RAM that I had into the slot. Although, more on that later. So, now that the CPU and RAM are in, I want to attach the cooler. Now, most CPUs come with a cooler in the box, although it's usually not very good. I bought a Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo cooler that I started to install and very quickly realized it wasn't going to fit inside of my comparatively small case. So I said fuck it and put it in a drawer for a future build and just installed the default cooler fan. So after that, I had to install the motherboard into the case. Again, not that hard, just a few screws, and plug everything back in. Boom, you're done, right? He said 5 hours before he was actually fucking done. So I put up the computer and it starts fine. The fan and LEDs come on, but there's no display. It didn't matter if my monitors were plugged into the GPU or the motherboard, if it was DMI, HDMI, or VGA, there was no display at all. So my flatmate Alex calls up his dad, who builds computers for a living, to help us out. He goes through a standard checklist of possible problems. You know, just checking to see if the cables are in snugly, I didn't forget to plug anything into the motherboard, and that the RAM is insecure. So after burning through that list, he suggests that the CMOS battery might need to be reset. Basically, that's a nickel battery in the motherboard that contains very basic system data, like system time and whatnot. We thought maybe it was trying to launch with settings that didn't exist, and at this point it was 10 o'clock at night and I just wanted this shit done. So, we tried that. Dead. So we opened up the case and removed the GTX 980 because the CMOS battery is seated right next to the fucking PCI slot for some goddamn Anyways, we spent 10 minutes prying the battery out with a fucking plastic knife, let it sit for another 10 minutes to reset, put it back in, and hey, the computer still doesn't work. So while Alex is googling the problem, I open up the case and take a look around. Here we are. Boop, boop. And... boop. Excellent. So I was making sure the power supply unit is plugged in, the GPU is seated properly, and I get to the RAM. I touch the RAM stick's casing just to be sure it's seated properly, and hear a loud click, which is either the RAM fucking breaking, or the latch that was supposed to be holding it in shutting. As it turns out, the whole problem was the RAM was just barely not quite in all the way. For those of you less technically inclined, imagine spending 2 hours trying to figure out why your car won't start, only to find out it's because you didn't put the key all the way into the ignition. It was that level of stupidity. But hey, now the computer's working, great! Windows starts loading, and I hard crash. As the PC is trying to load my old motherboard drivers to a much newer motherboard, any attempt to start my old version of Windows borked. So I thought, hey, the motherboard comes with an install disk for drivers, maybe that will work. So we put the disk in, start the PC, and are greeted with this. Welcome to FreeDOS. That's right, I managed to boot my PC into fucking DOS. Fucking DOS. So as it turns out, for who knows what reason, the install disk comes with FreeDOS on it, and will take boot priority over your goddamn boot drive. At this point, we realize I need to reinstall Windows. We make a Windows installer using a pen drive on Alex's laptop, put that in, boot up, and finally reinstall Windows. At 6 in the goddamn morning, my PC is functional again. Of course, you're not quite done yet, because now I had to update Windows and reinstall all of my drivers and a lot of my programs, anything that wasn't saved in my Windows old folder. So I spent a goddamn hour doing that. It is now 7 in the morning, and my PC is back to where it was before, pretty much. Of course, I wasn't gonna go to bed before testing my new CPU, so I will launch Payday 2 and crank my settings up to max. So, after about 20 minutes on Bank Heist with the corpse limit set to maximum, I wasn't even dropping below 100 FPS at 1080p. My PC is pretty damn powerful now, and you should expect my video quality to improve dramatically as a result. I should also be able to stream more games that I wasn't able to before, such as I was thinking GTA 5, so look forward to that. There's a link in the description to my Twitch channel if you want to go check it out. Can I get out of here without alerting anybody? Let's try it. Boop. This is a chair. I am a chair also. Get down, get dead, get dead, get dead, get dead, get dead, down, dead. Down and dead. Tied up, down, and dead. To be sure. So that is going to do it for this Sneak and Speak. I'm thinking my next video will be a redo of my Scarface character pack review, seeing as Kingpin has changed a hell of a lot since I released that video. Thanks for watching, and take it easy.